Alright, well, it's been a few weeks since it's been months since I've done a video. I've done a couple short clips and things are going on. I'm not big on doing videos I've done before of driving with the car and all that. That's why you haven't seen much from me. And the last we kind of left off with the car, I was working on the interior, and it's a bit like Christmas around here. Because I did take the Lambo off the list and lift and run it the other day. I was moving the other cars in. They could put the winter shoes on. You could probably see the Camaro's got its winter shoes on that time of year. So we're getting close to Christmas, and it felt like Christmas because I got a box from Mav. So, last remember I was going through the parts list of doing the interior with the Lambo. It's got the interiors is it's not bad, but it's not exact to an 88, which the car mostly replicates. It's an 88 Countach. And in the last couple of videos I went through the differences of between what I've got in mind and what we want to achieve with something more authentic. So with that, I created a part list, sent that off to Mav, who's by the horns, if you can find him on Facebook, and he's the guy that's sourcing a lot of these parts. I don't want to do that, so I just have him do it. He's got all the connections. He knows a lot more than this than I do, and you can spend hours and hours and hours wasting your time trying to find this stuff. And he's basically done all that for us. So anyway, so I went to him and he sent me a box that I've got right here. We'll start digging through it, comparing to what I had on my list. I know there's some things he and I were going to collaborate on. Didn't happen. And some he's still working on. COVID's hit. Completely ruined the supply chain for all of us in trying to find anything. So I had him send what he could get to this point. And now for me to go through his inventory of what he just sent me, of the parts list, I got to see what's there, what's not, and decide, do I start on this or do I wait, or what do I do? So that's what we're doing today. So on the list, I've just printed off a list for me here just to kind of get me started and compare things. I'll bring the stuff out of the box here. First thing is I've got at the top of the box. So this is the cover. It goes over the HVAC and the controls in the dash. Now, as you guys can see, this is cut out for pre-88. 88 has the HVAC that I've got here that I'm gonna I've shared with you guys before. That came in a while ago, and that would go in here, and that's a different cutout. But Mav had an extra one of these. He sent it to me for nothing, just to use as a template. It kind of makes it easier. And never know, I might actually be able to make it work and cut it out, and it's gonna save some few steps. So just looking at it and how the style of it, it's like, you know, these cutouts for the vents, the switches are probably all the same. It's just this area here. So thanks, Matt. So the first thing on our list was the instrument gauges, right? And as you can see, Mav had a set that he sent me, and this stuff this is good stuff. Looking at it, it's exciting. So of the set, we had the voltage meter, right? So you can see it's the voltage meter there. It's very similar to what we have in the original. Next to that, we have the oil temp sensor. And there you go. It's pretty cool. It's cool stuff. And then next to that we have the speedo, and you can see there's a speedo. It's got the logo on there. Pretty cool. It says on the back, it looks like it's a digital input. So the big thing, I've got an analog on the car now, so I'm gonna have to figure out an analog to digital converter somehow that would hook up. You see it's got that trip button. I'll have to put that in somewhere. And there's some pinouts on the back here that I'll have to figure out what each of them's for. So I'll have to find that out. Now Mav did send with it. Each of them has their instructions that comes with them. That's appropriate, and the hardware as well. So I'm just not showing all that. That's all in the boxes that he sends. So it's cool stuff. So beside the speedo, we've got the oil pressure sending. So that's that guy there. There you go. Yep. And then beside him, we've got the RPM gauge. It's pretty cool stuff there. Yeah, that gets you pretty excited. I didn't actually look at it. Well, it goes up to 7,000 RPM. The LT1 might have trouble getting there. Next to that, we've got the oil pressure. Sorry, RPM. Then we got the water temp right here. And next to the water temp on the gauge package is the fuel level. So there you go. That covers most of the instrument panel except for a few things that we'll get into in a little bit. There's our HVAC controller I was talking about earlier. That I have ordered all of the facings for this, and I'll have to try and replicate this button somehow, and that cover. But anyways, they're coming. I ordered those from, it's been so long since I got them, I'd forgotten. Bull Stuff is where I ordered this from, and they came in. Can I see them there? So you can see these are the corner vents that fit on each end of the dash. Really cool. Everything works like it's supposed to. You know, open and close at the back, and the, vents turn and everything like you expect them to. And on the back, I'll have to figure out how to adapt this to my system, but it's not a biggie. I'll figure out how to do that. Here's the other one. And just by JS2, I was checking to see if this drops in. This vent for the center vent in the console fits. And it does. I'm not going to snap it in because I don't want to snap it in place right now, but it does. Next thing on our list is the 3 left side Warner lights. They're on the left side of the dash. Those are not here for Mab, so I'm not sure where those are, so I'll have to check with him. I think that's one of the things he is struggling to get, but I will check. We did get, however, the dimmer that goes right next to it. And this one looks like it's probably a used unit. Don't know. But anyways, with looks like it would work, and it's the same partners used, so that's cool. Thanks, Matt. Next, we got the right side buttons. So these are on the bottom portion of the dash next to the lower console area, sort of thing, or left of the console, lower, just below the instrument panel. So there's a blank, and Matt had one that he sent me. He was creating this. I noticed that I need to put a blanking plate on the top of it just to blank it out, but yeah, it's fine. It doesn't do anything. Next to it, we had the, let's see, what was it here? Oh, the fog button, right? And we've got the hazard. You can get a better look. And then beside that, we got the fan button, which is, I'm not sure if it's a fan button or if it's something else, but we might use it for a dimmer. I don't know where I'm going to use it yet, but I'm just trying to replicate what's in there. It was, I think, a dimmer. Yeah, if I remember, it's a dimmer on the real car, but nobody can find the logo that goes in there. So I think we just said, we'll use the fan button. And then you got the fog lights, right? So with all of those, I may have them upside down here anyways, but those would fill out that area right below the dash for all those buttons. So next is above the center console area is the lighter, where the lighter goes in. That has a lighter. That looks an awful lot like it. So that was a good find. Beside it are, if I remember, it's the lock button, yeah, and the unlock button for the power switch, which would be handy for me to have because I use it for. It's basically more of these buttons, just with the different logos on it. So I know Mav didn't have that. We might do blanket ones, or he might be creating his old new ones. I know he was talking to me about it, so we'll just have to see where he is in that. Next we have the gated shifter. And here you go. This is a nice piece of work. So it's all machined. It does have the lockout, like you would expect. And that mechanism on the back, it's nothing fancy, but it works. So it could be spring loaded if you want to. So with my shift pattern, it would end up, if I'm looking at it here, driving first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Reverse for me is over here. On the real deal, I think it's over here. Just saying, it'll work. Nice piece, looks good. So the tricky part for this for me, and whether or not I'll get to this year or not, I'm not sure, is figuring out how to get the throws to land up in each of the gates with the current shifter that I have. I'm using that Hurst unit. I reached out to Dylan, who built the transaxle for me, and he did the original suggestions on linkage and stuff like that. So I've reached out to him again to see what his thoughts are on it and what way to go with either sticking with that. I want to lower it down. I did a whole video of that once before, and how I'm going to do that, not quite sure yet, but this one will be the trickiest part, I think, out of all of it. We have the gated shifter knob, so that was part of the deal. The mechanism that I've got in mind right now, I think this would probably actually fit in there. It's just figuring out how to thread this and then get it to stick on there. It's not a big deal. But and last but not least on ours is the clock. It's a digital clock that Lambo's putting to the right of the steering wheel. Mav said that he had one of those that he was going to send to me. So not sure what happened to that. But anyway, so that was part of this point of going through this, is figuring what I have, what I don't have. And then reaching back out to Paul to kind of see what he's thinking is. So as I look at it here, there's just about on every piece of the dash, there's something missing that I need. Now I could, except for where Mav and I were going to look at recreating the indicators on each side of the pod, the left and right indicators, and there's some other hazard lights that pop up on those. He and I were going to work on that. He found a supplier, a guy that started to make them, so I don't know where he's at with that. So what I might do is I could do the instrument panel, or the gauge pod. I could do that first. I have pretty much all the pieces for that, except for the ones that Mav and I were collaborating on. Then possibly he had found a supplier on. So if he hasn't, maybe what I do is I jiggy something else short term to work, and put just some kind of cover over it to make it look like the real deal. And in that way, at least it's semi-done and ready for when we do get the right ones. Hard to say, because I need to make sure I leave enough room for these guys in there and all that. So anyways, I'll have to talk to Mav more about this and figure out where we want to go from here. And then figure out if I'm going to tackle this. The worst thing is I don't want to start on the car and have it sitting waiting for parts, right? Because I can drive it, it's usable right now. So I'm waiting to build up that I have enough of those parts to actually tear into it. So if I only tore into, say, just the gauge pod, that's not that big a deal, all right? So, and if I had to remake, the mounting brackets that all of these gauges sit in again, that wouldn't be a big deal, right? Because it's easy to get off and all that. So I'm not too worried about that. So that might be as far as we get this year, depending on what we get feedback from Mav, but I'll play it by ear. I'm not in any rush, because the last thing I want to do is tear that whole thing interior apart, only be waiting for parts, and can't drive it next year. I think that's it for now. There's a lot of parts here, and there's a few more to get. We didn't get, I think it was 22 parts in total, and I think we were still missing about 4 or 5 by the looks of it. So I'll have a chat with Mav, figure out where to go with this. And in the meantime, if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, and thanks for watching. See ya. Nice enough for a run today, but this one needs an oil change. Weather is a little threatening. I did take it for a boot. He's a parrot.